In the previous video of this series, I showed you how I found my old copy of HeroQuest hidden somewhere in my mom's basement and how I started restoring the box and the contents of the game to have a fully functional copy. There was laughing, and there was crying. And after some hard work, the box was better than new, the dice were shining again, and the cards and tokens were back online. In this episode, we will see how I tried to get the most attractive part of the game, the miniatures, painted and ready for a day of gaming with my friends. There will be rage,
oh no, what the
tears,
the cardboard, no!
and challenges ahead. Will my HeroQuest be ready before summer break is over? Stay with me and watch until the end. Welcome back to my restoration project for my childhood copy of HeroQuest. On this video I want to show you how I tried to get the same game pieces that the game came with, painted before the summer break was over. I wanted to start with something simple for the first painting sessions, the stone. I wanted to reuse as much of the original game as possible, and the doors were among the things I didn't want to touch. My other copy of HeroQuest had sealed mini doors, which I love, but not for this one. This one will be all original pieces. I primed the door bases, the gargoyle, the altar, the fireplace and the tomb in grey with a flight primer. Since they were glued to them, I wrapped all the cardboard sections with masking tape, which will be a big mistake. My usual thing with the stone is using Drakenhof Nightshade, followed by dry brushing or painting flagstones on the doors. This is done with a bone color, followed by a white, and then painting the in-betweens with black. I end up with a wash of Agrex Earthshade to make everything look much more muted down. The broken gargoyle followed the same treatment. This is the easiest way to paint a gargoyle, and it definitely makes it look nice on your table. The fireplace and the altar had a little more extra work done on them, with a source light and some details on the grimoire. The most important miniatures of the game are, obviously, the heroes. They are the ones your players will handle all the time and they need to be up to the job. Luckily for me, as I needed to save time, I had 3 of the original heroes painted and another one that will join the roster. The elf was not the original one from the game, as when I got it, this miniature was broken and I had to fix it as well as I could back then. It eventually got retired after I got a new miniature for the elf, and it stayed for a long time in my bits box until it got promoted some time ago to Archmage for the armies of Ulthuan, where he now serves. The wizard has a very interesting story as well. My HeroQuest wizards, the 2 copies I somehow got my hands on, had been recruited for 2 very different positions. One had been conscripted for an imperial army, and the other one for a vampire count's army. Both had quite interesting careers in their new posts. In fact, it is funny seeing how some stuff from HeroQuest have popped up in those armies as well. So that's where some of the missing things got on, huh? The wizard miniature I was going to use came from the board game The Legend of Zagor. I had poached lots of stuff from that game to some of my armies, and I really don't know where all the cool things from it had gone, such as the 3D board game. Pity. I had painted this dude even before the heroes from HeroQuest, and they all had received the static grass treatment, which was the hype back then, but looked horrible for dungeon crawlers. I took that off and started doing some patching on the painting. Some proper paint here and there, glazing to kill off the exaggerated highlights, and a little bit of detail. Then it was the bases, and these were more than ready to be handled by my players. Well, after a nice coat of very much needed varnish. Time was tight. I was trying to paint several things at the same time, and I really needed to put a dent at painting the bodies for the game. I decided I should prime with green all the orcs, goblins, and Fimir. Remember I told you I was a few minutes short? Luckily for me, my vast pile of shame helped, and I was able to find some minis to fill in the gaps for the goblin and orcs missing. I tried to find miniatures that will look cool and not too much out of place, or the ones that I will just feel like painting. So I got a plain green primer that will be the base for painting these dudes, as it will make the minis look nice with a wash. However, the washes were not sticking to the paint at all. This was a huge setback. I needed now to get rid of the primer, wash the minis, and start over again with a different color. What a disaster. So what to do now? I decided to use the primer I had used for the stone, the light grey one, and go and do all the minis with that. It had worked, and I knew I could trust that one. Once the primer dried, I gave everything a pre-wash. I used Coat the Arms brown for the furniture, Flesh for the greenskins and the Fimir, and since we were at it, I gave a coat of red ink to the Chaos Warriors and to the armor of the other gargoyle. Oh boy, time was getting tight, and to speed paint we always have to resort to certain tools and techniques. Dry brushing proved its worth once again when it came to painting the furniture. Bleach bone, bolt gun metal, and I was preparing the minis for some washes now, so I could go later into details, so all the metals were painted now. I was running out of time and I didn't know if I would finish before the game day, not after the fiasco with the primer. I needed a trump card out of my sleeve. I needed help. I needed... My wife doesn't paint. It's not her cup of tea. But she decided to help me here by painting the orcs, goblins, and Fimirs. She has great pulse and lots of attention to detail, so I just needed to tell her what color to use and what areas to paint. Rushing the wash is pretty much painting by numbers. Do Coelia green shade here, paint metal here, and then wash with Agrax earth shade, which means I could go focus on the rest of the game. I wanted to get the furniture done ASAP. If I could finish the greenskins with Maria's help and focus on the furniture, then around 80% of the game will be ready. But once again, disaster. Things were picking up. My wife's help was saving my ass, and I was making good pace on painting the furniture. I wanted to remove the masking tape I had used during priming and see if the cardboard needed some tinting or painting here and there. Joke's on me. The tape was pulling off the printing on the cardboard and it was almost impossible to rip it off without damaging the designs.
Well, this little maneuver is gonna cost us 51 years!
I almost cried, I'm not gonna lie. I couldn't possibly leave this like that. I had to fix it. I used superglue to seal the cardboard. It was faster than anything else and will make the cardboard lose its fuzziness and not soak up paint like crazy. And then I started painting with all I had at my disposal. I needed not only to finish the spoiled cardboard, but also the several details in the furniture that needed attention. have to say the results were satisfactory, but man, did I not enjoy having to do this. My time was running very low and I had just a couple of days to finish it all before the game day. At least the furniture and the heroes were finished, so that meant that I only had to deal with the monsters. The deadline was very close and I was not very sure if I was going to be able to finish. I had lost a few painting sessions due to the green screen and furniture fiascos, and I had already invited my friends to the gaming day, which had took some titanic effort to gather everyone involved on the same date due to conflicting schedules. There was no room for error. I needed to find a way to get the monsters painted, and I needed to find it now. The key to speed painting is speed. Painting was being done now at a frantic pace. I couldn't afford the luxury of doing several washes to create better shading, but the pre-wash worked great to help minimize this. Once the main areas were painted, I started working on the smaller details: the tunics, the armor, the weapons, the teeth, the eyes, and gems. However, the additions for the green skins deserve some extra attention. I really wanted them to be used as some of the characters that the heroes encountered in the quests, particularly the orcs, who could be Ulag from quests number 3, Lair of the Orc Warlord, and Ulag's son, Grak, from number 6, Legacy of the Orc Warlord. Regarding the undead, the two mummies were sorted out very fast, but I couldn't find my zombies nor my skeletons. I was sure I had used them for my Vampire Count's army, and I simply didn't have any miniatures as a good replacement. I decided to forget about that and use some proxies from my armies. I focused instead on the Chaos Warriors and the Gargoyle, as this will take a little longer. I made good pace on those as well, painting as fast as I could, but trying to make them justice, as these were the most powerful enemies in the game, and they needed to command that feeling. I tried to stay true to the original paint jobs by Mike McVeigh, without losing too much time on small details. I think I achieved that somehow, and I was quite happy with the results, to be honest. I finished painting and varnishing everything just on time for the game day the next day. I just needed to poach the missing miniatures from my collection and sleep a few hours before the big day. But that is a story for next time. Even though it was a partial success due to the fact that I couldn't find miniatures that I would really like to include in the game to take the place of the skeletons and zombies, I felt very proud of what I had achieved. This is my childhood copy and now it looks like a proper game. I was so excited about showing this to my friends and playing some games with it. Next, I'm gonna show you some of the color recipes that I use to paint these guys. Super fast. Pause the video if you need to. you have watched the whole thing, thanks a lot. Consider subscribing for more videos on my gaming and painting journey, and for blasts from the past like this one. My name is Miguel, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Un beso. Adiós.